That doesn't bug me. What does bug me is if I, holy crap, what's going on over there?
That's all right.
Closed doors. Closed doors.
Closing all the doors with the buttons. Because it's fancier, cooler.
Look at us all
Look at us.
gray.
We're all like 18% gray.
Because we're
Matches my
photographers
hair.
in cars.
Joggers and cars. I'm Scott Davenport.
I'm Spencer Pablo.
And welcome to our newest episode yet.
Good day.
Yes.
Night.
And, well, let's call it dusk. That sounds,
Good dusk.
That sounds mysterious and poor English.
Oh.
So we're going to talk about underselling photography today.
Mhm.
We were chatting about this. Hi, officers. We're still on the streets, and sometimes we get people that are interested in it. This one happened to be San Diego's finest. And
Yeah.
they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they actually look in the cabin of the vehicle?
They had two guys, two officers, and the one in the passenger seat was craning, like,
Oh,
kinda
okay.
like he was like tracking us there for a bit. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's because of the lights.
Yeah, this isn't. We probably do stand out to John Q. Public as a strange. I mean, it's already a strange car. All of a sudden, strange car has lights in it.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was saying, all right, underselling photography. So we had met up earlier before sitting down to film, and we were chatting about this over the I'll call it the coffee table because I had coffee, and it's still coursing through my veins right now, so it feels good. But the first thing so I guess the theme of this all was like, are you underselling your own photography, and are you aware of when you put something into, whether it's online or sharing, photo contests, whatever it might be, what the various terms are. And so the first one that came up was Unsplash, which has been in the media.
Oh man, I know they're not alone. But before we actually dive into this, I want to kind of differentiate what, because they're also kind of related to it. You get a buddy, or you get a family friend or family, like a brother, who goes, "Hey, can you take a picture of my family and I?" Oh yeah. That's not right, and stuff like sometimes you'll give them a discount and stuff like that. That's different than what we're talking about.
Very true.
Here.
Yeah, valid distinction.
Yeah. So, because sometimes you do undersell yourself to folks,
or if it's for a cause that you like. I mean,
Right.
there's never any one blanket statement that can cover everything. There's always maybe the underpinnings of this is being aware of what you're doing, and understanding what it might mean to your photography, fellow photographers, whatever it might be, because certainly if you're doing it, others are doing it as well,
right?
And so it's we don't want it to be a race to the bottom.
No. So that aside,
with that context in mind,
right?
So Unsplash has been the one that's been in the media a lot, and you mentioned it while we were having coffee. So I have not visited the site. I've read the few articles that are there, but as I understand it, if you post a photo, you have given Unsplash unconditional freedom to take your work and do whatever they want with it, charge whomever they want.
Actually, they don't even charge. They somehow still make money off of this whole thing.
Weird. Okay.
I'm not sure how their business model works, but if you visit their site and you see an image you want to use for your business, you are free to do that.
Okay.
It would be nice if you gave credit to the photographer, but you're not obligated to do so. Model releases, who cares? I want to use that shot. I want to use it for my business.
Oh, even
for free.
Model releases?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So,
how can they do that one legally?
So Zacharias actually chatted about this in his video. It was like an hour-long video.
Okay.
I highly recommend that you guys
find it.
check
we'll put
this
it in the
out.
show notes.
He actually interviews the CEO, and you can tell throughout the entire thing. I mean, from where I sat watching this thing, I was like, he wants to reach through that virtual screen and say,
"Oh, so this was remote, okay?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like on Creative Live. Or
No. Oh no.
Whoa, the big booming voice came.
Gosh, man.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you're sitting next to the guy who says, "Oh yeah, I make millions of dollars out of images that I didn't create," and the photographers who submit their stuff, I don't know how I would feel.
So I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the model release thing. I mean, I'm a landscape photographer, so I can understand. I take a picture of the ocean or a rock or whatever, and okay, someone takes that. There's no ownership assignment and sort of like to that. But if there's a recognizable person and you haven't gotten them auto release, that's usually a problem as far as charging money for it. So did that come up in this?
He did bring it up. I don't remember exactly how. I don't actually even think they came upon a resolution to the model release thing. Just assuming that if it's on there, it's free to use. The question of whether or not the model release is legit, it was sort of like, it's probably not legitimate, but these folks are still submitting their images, So
they're probably phrasing, this is Unsplash, however they're phrasing their terms of service, it will absolve them of any, if there's a discrepancy, it's not considered their fault because it's, they were told it was fine. And it's weird because ignorance of the law isn't an excuse in a lot of other situations. Wow, it just seems very... So Unsplash, I mean, okay, so maybe I do have a blanket statement then. I wouldn't feel comfortable at all doing that, even if I didn't want to charge for my own imagery.
Oh, yeah.
It just seems bad for the photo industry in general.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't feel right to me.
I mean, we can... what I want to do is I really want to figure out what the model release aspect is, but because I am not really sure about it, there's only so much I can talk about that, but it's the concept behind doing your work for free with the whole intent of the promise of exposure or... so there's a lot of photographers out there who are super talented, but they're so green and they're like, oh, my photo is on a billboard. I didn't get paid for it, but dude, that's me. And they haven't come to the position yet where they're like, wait a minute. I went there. I took the gear that I spent thousands of dollars on to get to this thing. I pay my insurance. I remember waking up super early to go get that sunrise. And now they're using it for free, and that's my thing with it.
Yeah. It's like exposure and $5 will get you a coffee. Kind of thing, right?
Yes.
All
man.
right. So
I get those emails all the time though from like folks who are like, hey. Can you do this, that, and the other for me? It's going to be wonderful exposure. I'll post you on my Instagram. Blah, blah.
The exposure thing. Yeah. Now, so conversely, I'm thinking of a situation just recently. This is within this week that I got contacted by a student that wanted to use one of my photos in their final project. And this was interesting because she's a textile student out in Germany, and she's doing this textile project based on ocean-themed things, and one of them was tide pools. And so I have a picture of some tide pools, and she said, can I use this in my report? It's not being published, it's just going into my school, but I want to show, here's what tide pools look like. So I ask a couple of questions. What university you go to, find out does the place really exist, all that kind of stuff. Say, yep, sounds fine. Just give me accreditation and a pointer back to my website. So kind of in the Creative Commons realm of... Okay.
Tell me at least you gave her a low resolution version.
Oh, it's she's going to just basically scrape what was on my website, which was maybe 2,000 pixels, wide or something like that. So it wasn't, here's the raw file or anything like that. But that was an example where I was like, okay, fine,
sure,
and thumbs up for her to even ask.
That is cool.
That was really awesome.
That is cool.
With. Yeah. So that might be an example of when you might do something pro bono, to use a lawyer term, right?
Ooh, I know, you just went right over my head. That's like a degree I didn't even touch.
People that like you too. You're pro bono.
Oh, you too. Oh, that
was for you, Sharky.
Sharky, are you a U2 fan? I thought who was the one married to Cher?
Sonny.
That's
Sonny Bono, but I'm thinking of Bono would be.
Oh, that's pro bono. That's not pro bono.
I fudged it up.
Yeah, man.
Well, hey, there we go. Still for you, Sharky.
So no, that's cool. That's cool though that you were able to do that. If approached, I also would probably do the same. The funny thing is, I just wonder how many times people don't approach and they just go and they take.
Oh, that's why you use services that we've talked about in previous episodes to help you find those people.
Yeah, but that doesn't help you if it is printed on someone's hey, this is a paper I'm working on for school.
That's true. Yeah. There's limits to what you can do.
But whoever you are who asked Scott, thumbs up to you. That's really nice putting yourself out there.
But so you mentioned you can't necessarily chase everybody, but also you being aware of what you're doing with your photo. So we were also talking about like, photo contests, and not all of them, but some of them, or things like I get periodic requests through Instagram that someone says, hey, we really like your photo, can we reshare it? And they usually include a little link to their terms of service.
Yeah.
And you got to go read those, because some of them are cool and they're just like, we're going to share it and we're going to credit you on social media, and that's roughly the end of it. Other ones, it's you're giving away the cow, the proverbial cow.
Yeah.
And the phrase that really gets under my skin is when you see sub-licensable in their terms of service.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. So that fundamentally would mean they can take your photo and then they can relicense it to someone else and charge them money, and you will not be credited or, paid. And even if you're not interested in being paid, but, like back to that credit thing, that's usually, something that people want, like, that's like that exposure thing as well. And, that to me, that's one where if you see that phrase in terms of service, I wouldn't advise doing that, and putting photos into those.
So,
but yeah.
So for me, I guess it's different for me, because if you go to my Instagram, you'll see photos that, similar to you, we go and we take, but then you'll also see photos of my gear. So I have seen, it's so weird. Photos of my gear get so many likes. And I guess I wear a different hat when I take a picture of my gear, because I have seen photos of my gear reposted so many times, and it doesn't bug me. That doesn't bug me. What does bug me is if holy crap, what's going on over there?
That's all right. It's a reasonably nice sunset. It's not it's not stellar. I'd put it at a 3 or 4.
This is colors.
It's nice.
Fantastic. Anyway, if I went to go photograph,
shiny object.
Yeah, if I went to go photograph something that approaches those colors, and I set my gear up and I did it in such a way, it's calculated. I'm capturing this. I edited a certain way. Those photos, I'm not too keen on sharing pro bono.
Sure.
Right? But for when I take pictures of my cameras on a tripod, I'm fine with that. It's weird.
Well, and if I'm a product photographer and I've done a very special setup, like imagine pure white background, the nice reflection, where you've got a lot of things to do and set up to get correct.
Yeah.
And no dust, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That takes work.
That's different.
Versus, I took a picture of my camera on my desk because I needed something for the blog post I was writing. And you're right, those ones get just lifted and shifted everywhere.
Something about Sony photographers, they just love the gear.
It's just gear in general.
Oh yeah,
it's just pictures of gear. It really is. And honestly, I like them too. I mean, they just because I guess it speaks to the photographer, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to pick up that camera and I want to go take a picture and all that.
I don't know, it's weird. Yeah. So that actually, this discussion reminds me of something, because we've been talking about giving out stuff for free or preventing someone else from taking it for free. There's a level above that, just ever so slightly above that.
Right.
And there are services that exist, and I know here in sunny San Diego we had one in particular that seemed very popular and then died a very sad death. Sad for the business owner, not sad for people like me. The concept behind this business is they will, like for instance, when I photograph a family, it costs money. When someone hires me to go do something, it costs money. But when I say it costs money, it doesn't cost $25. It costs a considerable amount above that. This company here will say, hey, the concept behind these companies, hey, there's someone wants to take family pictures. They want to do They want to do it for $25 or $40. Who wants to do it? And they created this infrastructure that says, hey, which photographer wants to go ahead and do it?
Okay.
Right. And so I guess it's fine for people who just come out of high school or.
Well, actually, I mean, so what I wanted to ask about these types of services. So, it's kind of, it's connecting someone who wants a photographer with someone that says, hey, I'm in your area and I can do this for whatever, do they bid on it, or is it like, do they have like ranges where, all right, I want the $50 photographer because in my head that's how much I'm willing to spend. Do they have like the $500 photographer? I want, give me 2 hours, or however much time it is. I don't take pictures of people or things, so I don't know how much would be realistic to charge.
Sure.
But, multiple hundreds of dollars for a small shoot seems reasonable.
They had the promise that they would eventually implement something to that degree. But I was because I was curious about it, I actually participated. I wanted to see what it was about. So I remember photographing a job, and they said, hey, it's going to be $30. And I said, I'll do 50 or something like that. Just because it gives you that kind of wiggle room. You're like, I'll do 50, but I'll also provide you 3 other images, whatever, right?
Yeah, okay.
So I did this years ago, and I remember sitting there for I think I was there for 3 hours. I was like, this is horrible, right? But I wasn't done. As soon as I was done, because just the way I am, I can't just give images like that. I have to process them.
You want to, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I did that, they looked at the images. They're like, this is wonderful. This is great. We want to use you as the premier poster child for our business. I was like, no. That's not going to happen at all. You're not going to use me. I do not endorse this business. It's not cool. But they were saying things like, well, the whole you cost $50. We eventually want to roll out another phase that says, hey, if you want this echelon of photographer, they're going to be $300, $400.
So this service was,
it never got there though.
Yeah. So this service was a fixed price, not based on time. Because I can understand it being, it's this much per hour.
Yeah.
At least that's more reasonable. And for folks that want to I want to be able to support my habit of buying my next camera or something, I can kind of get that.
It wasn't structured enough that dictated that. It's like, hey, I have a birthday party. It's my son's fourth birthday party.
I see.
Come over. Here's $40.
I see.
Please do it. And and sometimes for these photographers, they'll be like, oh, it's an event. I'll probably get cake out of it too, and $40
and
right on, and a balloon, and a photo with a clown. But they realize it's not. They don't realize it's 6 hours that they're going to be there.
Right.
So it's kind of a way to introduce beginning photographers to the world. But the thing is, it devalued. So there was there was a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my friends were like, this is a bad idea. This isn't good.
Yeah, I love the concept of being able to connect clients with photographers, but
not
for
that value though.
Yeah, especially when it doesn't account for the time that's going to be spent. Right. And that's just like you said, it's just the time at the location first. And then you've got probably that much more time on the back end of it to do the processing. As I was in one of my podcasts, I like a whole bunch. Derek Story, he did a thing on this a few weeks ago. He was talking about when he used to do weddings, but it was in the film days.
Yeah.
And then once you were done with the wedding, after your 12-hour day, you took all the rolls of film, you've been to the lab, and they came back, and you were kind of done.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I just got all these images. Now I got to go work on them all. So it's really double the amount of work.
That's the hardest part now. In today's, in my workflow, it's after I get the images. That's when it gets rough, because man, sometimes you're just calling and you're like, I cannot look at the nth image of this eclipse anymore. I'm so tired. I remember that.
Well, I can't look at the sunset. Bad example, because the eclipse isn't going, where are my photos?
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
People, for a family photo shoot, I'm sure there's an expectation that they would like to get their images in, I don't know what it is, a few days, a week. I have no idea. I don't know I wouldn't know how to manage that.
Yeah, I think some people like to deliver them in, I know this is not the topic, but some people like them delivered within a month. I tend to be fast myself. I usually deliver them in 2 weeks or less.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a certain expectation, and then that, you have to juggle that as well as hustling to go grow your business.
Well, yeah, just because you say I'll give it to you in 2 weeks doesn't give you a 2-week vacation, because assumedly you've got another shoot lined up.
Absolutely.
And they all just start to go, and if you don't stay on top of it, they stack up, and then you're pulling all-nighters and so forth.
Oh yeah.
So services where
it's not worth $40 for
you may be underestimating your own value.
Yeah.
And your time has value.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that you cannot get any more of. If I could buy time, you would be a corpse and I would have taken all your time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There'd be a little skeleton here.
So please, if there's one thing I want the folks that I talk to on a regular basis to know, like, because it's so weird. I know all of these folks. I know lots of folks who buy thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of gear, and the images that, and they only use it when people go, hey, can you please take a picture of us? And, they actually don't realize that there's value to, I mean, they're equipping themselves with all of this expensive gear.
Sure.
It's worth something. Don't deliver something for free or or like the cost of coffee.
So, yeah. And I guess you'd say that, I will say, don't do that in like a ongoing professional manner.
No.
If you're like you were saying at the very beginning of the show, if it's something where, it's a close family friend or, it's something else where, that's, or, we said, charity or something that you have, some other type of passion project. Okay. There's probably a time and a place for it, but as a general business model, not
you have to think you're feeding your family. This is a profession for many of us. And so can you feed your family with exposure? No.
But with cake and a balloon with a picture of Elmo on it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's different. Then you can feed your family.
Elmo speaks bad English on education show.
Yeah, he does.
He speaks bad English on an educational show.
Man.
But anyway, that's a little off the topic. I wanted to lighten it up. I was feeling like, oh, God, we're getting really heavy here. We're underselling ourselves. And, it's getting darker by the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's like,
I never look in this vector. I never look, I mean, like in any of our videos, I rarely look off frame.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. Like sometimes I'm just like, it's not, because I'm looking here.
And when you lean back and do that, like I'm on frame.
Yeah.
And so are you.
Yes. Well, the thing is, when I look, because I always look here, and if I look past you, I see like a parking lot or, something like that, or a driveway. If I look here, I'm seeing an ocean, some decent colors.
That's why I'm on the side of the car.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get it now. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I think we've pretty much crushed this topic.
I think so.
Good show.
I think
good
so.
Topic.
Yeah, don't undersell or don't undervalue.
Don't undervalue yourself. Don't undersell your photography.
Yeah,
it's all good.
You're so much better with English than I am.
I learned from Elmo.
Yeah. I learned from Elmo, which is why I suck at this.
So
anyway.
Today's episode was sponsored by
the letter
W and the number 5.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right, cool. Well, okay.
Yeah.
All set?
Next week, guys.
See you next week.
Peace out, people.
All right, bye.